Here with Ben Johnson, Colin. His plans for the offense in in Chicago dropped, and he let everybody in on a little secret. This is going to be, I like to fancy it, the quarterback's offense, Johnson said. We're going to tailor this right around Caleb Williams. It will not necessarily be what you've seen from the last 3 years. We're going to find out precisely what our quarterback does well, and that's what really we're going to anchor on. You like this? You love this? It's tough not to like it.
Well, you have to figure out if he can play. So let's just figure out if he can play. Like I always say, when you draft a quarterback and you have the quarterback contract for 4 years, load up the offense. If you don't want to be ambivalent about it going into year 2 or 3. Like, can he play? So to me, this is the way to do it. This offense between Ben Johnson, Joe Tooney, Drew Dahlman, DJ Moore, Roma Dunze, the 2 tight ends, if they can't, forget the record. If they're not a top 6 or 7 offense, I watched Jaden Daniels last year with a bad O-line and no run game. If they're not a top 6 or 7 offense in the league, then you got the wrong guy at quarterback. They have to be an elite offense. They have too many good players.
So when you hear this, tailor to the quarterback. So what he didn't do well last year was avoid sacks. He took 79 sacks and giveaways last year. Colin, that's unacceptable for a quarterback. So my guess is they're going to do a lot more 3-step and get rid of it, right? Read and react. We do not want you holding the ball, Caleb. That's when bad things happen. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, speed it up. I mean, one of the great gifts Brady had, got rid of the ball. You're never going to gain as many yards as the people you throw it to, so get rid of the rock.
It's not just that. You need to also, your coach needs to give you options when you're dealing with the pressure, when the pressure is getting to you. So it's not just, well, you're holding on to the ball. When you hold on to the ball, bad things happen. It's like, that's part of it. But Caleb Williams wasn't given any solutions to deal with the pressure when it was breathing down his neck. And that is on the coaching staff. That is on the coaching staff. That is going to be on the offensive coordinator, and obviously in this situation, the head coach of Ben Johnson. So that's what I want to see first. Before just getting rid of the ball. I'm a fan of getting rid of the ball too, don't get me wrong. It's worked very well for Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, but I also want to be able to see him understand how to navigate the pressure when the pressure is there. And Ben Johnson giving him these quick get out of jail free cards, pressure breathing down your neck. We got here, and here. I really do got to find the clip. Mark Sanchez did such a perfect job of highlighting all of that, and it was last year in September, and so it'll take me a second to have to try to hunt down that clip, but that's more than anything. And Ben Johnson worked with Jared Goff very well with dealing with being under pressure. I highlighted that, and you really can see Jared Goff's stats and what he was able to do with Sean McVay. And then when he got to Detroit before Ben Johnson was the coordinator, and then when Johnson became the coordinator, it's just night and day. It's great, great. Coaching matters, and I love this. I don't like this. I love this. This is exactly what you want to see from your head coach and your offensive, coordinator, which he essentially is in this situation. Because you do have some coaches that are like, "This is the system that I run. This is what I do. This is what we're going to do it as." And he's saying, like, no, I'm figuring out. I've talked about this so much, and I love to see when something that I talk about meets you right there. That the job of a coach is to figure out what you can and can't do. And figure out what you can do great, what you can do good, what you can do average, and what you can do that's just downright bad. And then they figure out, can we elevate the bad and make it good? Yes or no? No? Okay, well, we have to hide this a little bit. We have to make sure that this doesn't happen as frequently. What we do good, can we make it great? Can we make great elite? What's the story here? Are there certain circumstances when good is now great, or when sometimes great is elite? Like, what's the story here? And really trying to figure out. And it's a fascinating process. It really is. It's a fascinating process to figure out what you do good, great, and not so good, and how can we build an offense around that? How can we emphasize what you do great? How often do we use it? What's the foundation? And it's awesome. And that is what a great coach does. So I absolutely. This is like that quote right there is the. If you're a Chicago Bears fan, you should just be, yes, we did it. We did it. We hired the right guy. We got the right coach. Not only is he a great coach, but he also has a great head on his shoulders. He understands. He's not egotistical and is like, this is my offense. This is the way we're running it. Anyone who's just can't do it, then they're just not good enough. Like, he's doing what you're supposed to do with a young quarterback. You're supposed to be like, all right, let's figure this out, man. Let's figure out what you can and can't do. That is step one. And they're not skipping steps. I love it. Absolutely love it. And I disagree with Colin, where he's saying, oh, you have to figure out, can Caleb Williams play? He's already proven that. The Chicago Bears were a disaster last season. A disaster from a roster construction and a disaster from a coaching staff. And Caleb Williams did not pop. And I mean like bubble pop. Was he great? Was he elite? Was he special? No. And I know some Chicago Bears fans get like sensitive because they're like, well, look at his stats. They were actually really good. And it's like, again, his stats were a bit misleading. And that's why I don't care about the stats, quite frankly. I care if the fact that he didn't drown, that he was able to keep his head above water in such a disaster of a season, combined with an insane amount of attention on him. An insane amount of attention in a massive city of Chicago. We're not talking about that he struggled in Tennessee. That's a completely different conversation entirely. He didn't struggle in Carolina. They've been talking about Caleb Williams now for years. There was so much attention and momentum and celebrityism surrounding Caleb before he stepped foot on a football field in the NFL. And then he goes to a massive city like Chicago, a massive media marketplace where people are talking about him 365, 24/7, nonstop. Every single one of these shows are opening and closing with Caleb Williams. And now the season is just not so good. Coaches being fired, coordinators being fired. It doesn't have a second to breathe. That's a lot to deal with in your first year in the NFL, man. That's a lot. And the sheer fact that he wasn't just an absolute mess, that it didn't completely collapse, they didn't have like 15 touchdowns and 30 interceptions or something. I mean, like, he was taking sacks. Okay, I get it. Sure. It's technically the lesser of evils, quite frankly. So, that aspect really did impress me. That's why I don't care about like the bottom line stats of how many yards he threw for, or even touchdowns, or even interceptions, even though I just kind of said that at the back end. It's really just more of the composure. I don't care even what the bottom line number ended up necessarily being. It was actually the composure while the house was on fire during a hurricane with flooding and a tornado and a tsunami. And he survived. I mean, I think that's actually pretty impressive to me, quite frankly, because I've seen quarterbacks who are supposed to be better than Caleb Williams not do that years into their career. That means something to me. So I'm excited to see that Ben Johnson clearly has the right approach here. And to me, that would have been technically, if you're talking about like, oh, can he be a head coach? Can he not? And this would be one of the big check marks that you're like, what's his approach going to be? As well as, can he delegate? Can he run, a team as a whole and not just an offense? But so far, from my viewpoint, it's check. So, I already saw him run the team when he first did his very first meeting, when he came in and addressed himself to the staff and what he said and how he composed himself. I was like, yep, that's the guy, man. That's the guy. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Ben Johnson tailoring the offense around Caleb Williams, and whether or not he's already proven that, Caleb, that is, that he can indeed play football in the NFL? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.